You ever watch a great movie and you just can't wait for the sequel? Well, guess what? The Empire Strikes Back Retro Collection sequel is coming up next. Hey Star Wars fans, welcome back to another video from All Things Star Wars Considered. I'm your host Doug, and today I have to right some wrongs from last week. In case you're wondering, let's get to that right now. I'd love to see more Empire Strikes Back figures in the retro collection, and maybe down the line we'll see some of that. But as you can see, I made that statement, and I have no idea what I was thinking. I acted and spoke like there were no other Empire Strikes Back retro figures. And you know the funny thing? Nobody even called me on it. I was looking back at the comments. I'm like, somebody had to have called me on this. And I went back and I don't know, I had 14, 15 comments. And nobody once reminded me that they put out a second wave of these figures. Somebody did remind me about the board game, and we'll get to that as well, but nobody called me on the Bounty Hunter 2-packs. So yeah, Hasbro did a couple of years later, a year or so later, I don't know, I think the date on it says 2022, but obviously for those maybe joining me for the first time, last week I did a video about the retro collection line of figures, and we talked about the Empire wave, and that was Solo, Leia, Lando, Yoda, Luke Bespin, and Boba Fett. And at least twice during the video I stated that it would be nice if they came out with another wave, maybe some never before seen characters, and never made reference to the fact that literally in 2022, the first set came out in 2020, and in 2022 they came out with these Bounty Hunter 2-packs, and you know, I never addressed it in the video, and I felt that I was kind of deceiving the fans out there. So I know a lot of you guys reached out to me and said you weren't aware of this wave, and I was kind of surprised by that. But when I looked at the back of the package, they did come out in 2020, and that was obviously the year of COVID. So a lot of things were shut down. You know, people were having to go into stores with masks. I'm quite sure that people weren't hot and heavy on the Empire Strikes Back retro collection during, you know, a worldwide pandemic. So it's easy to see why those figures fell through the cracks. But in any event, and there's my key phrase, in any event, we are going to take a look at the Bounty Hunter 2-packs. Now, I think they retailed for somewhere around $26, $27, $28, somewhere in that price point. And they didn't do well. And obviously, along the way, a lot of vendors had to put them on clearance. And I want to say that I picked up all three of mine for like maybe half price. I know a few of them I think I got for like 13, 14 bucks. So I was able to pick this wave up on the cheap. So we're going to take a look at that, and that's all coming up next. Be great if they could come out with another wave, maybe some never before seen characters. Okay, here's another misstep. As you can see from the little clip that I just showed, I said it'd be nice if they came out with some never before seen characters. Again, another misquote, or you know, misrepresentation by myself, because here we have a never before seen figure. Now, for some of you, you might be saying, wait a minute, is that X-Wing Luke? And yes, technically it's X-Wing Luke, but they have changed the visor on the figure. They've given him like some yellow goggles. If you noticed, they've changed his gloves. He now has white gloves, and he is known as Luke Skywalker Snowspeeder figure. Now, I'm sorry that I didn't pull them off. This game is sealed. I ended up paying quite a bit of money for this game, and the figure just doesn't do enough for me, so I have left the game sealed. But here's the carded Luke Skywalker Snowspeeder figure. So I did misspeak. I did say I wanted them to come up with more Empire Strikes Back figures, and they actually did. Now, this is close to the Kenner version, but it's not. So technically, it's a new figure. So we're not going to labor too much about this, but I did want to just kind of correct my statement from last week and let you know that they did, in fact, come out with a never-before-seen figure, and that is the Luke Skywalker Snowspeeder figure. So without further ado, let's move on to the Bounty Hunter 2-packs coming up next. Okay, and here's the first set. Now, these came in pairs, so just wanted to kind of clarify that before we get going. But I figured I would start with the Boba Fett one because obviously the Boba Fett is the repack of this entire wave. Now, like I mentioned last week, Boba Fett was the chase. He was extremely difficult to come by, and it was nice that for people that maybe didn't find them on the pegs, they had a second opportunity to grab them in these Bounty Hunter 2-packs. So these come, there's 2 figures per box, and obviously you can see Boba Fett and Bossk. This is in 4 languages, so it says 2 action figures, and then it says it probably in French, Spanish, and something else, I don't know. But there you have it. You got the Empire Strikes Back logo with the single racetrack piping around the edge of the box, the Kenner logo, the Retro Collection emblem, and the 2 figures included, Boba Fett and Bossk. If you flip to the back, it says 2 of the most feared bounty hunters in the galaxy, Boba Fett and Bossk, have crossed paths over the course of their careers as both collaborators and competitors. Both had undeniable skill, but only one became a legend, and obviously we know that that was Boba Fett. And we got the cool image of all 6 of the bounty hunters, and then of course, let's not get too crazy with this because this could get long, and it basically just says, contains 2 figures with their accessories, blah blah blah, a bunch of foreign languages. The side shows action figures. Oh, this is all in a foreign language. I think if you flip to this side, you get it in English. Action figures, put them in their own action poses and use them with Star Wars toys sold separately. So without further ado, I just do not want to labor on this too much. There's really not enough worth it to go through. So let's kind of get that out of the way. And here's Boba Fett. We're not going to labor on him. We've already done him last week. Pretty much the same figure. E11 blaster. Classic image of Boba Fett firing from his rocket launcher off his wrist. The Retro Collection sticker. The Kenner logo. And this weathering around the outer edge of the card. Again, not going to labor. Okay, let's get to the new figure, or the never before released retro figure, and that is Bossk. And great looking figure. He comes on with his green name pill in green backer. He's got that signature sawed off shotgun blaster rifle that the figure came with. Of course, we have all this simulated damage around the outer edge of the card. The Star Wars Empire Strikes Back logo. Of course, this gaudy sticker that's not removable unless you want to damage the card. And the Kenner logo. And, of course, the classic image of Bossk as he is seen on the Star Destroyer during the briefing with Vader. And the figure looks great. I did not have this figure as a kid. I ended up picking him up in my late teens, so I do not have him on his signature card back. But so it's nice to have this one. Let's just kind of flip this over quick. And basically, they're all going to say the same thing here. And each time that they go with a different character, they're going to change those 2. So this obviously is Boba Fett and Bossk. When we get to the next box set, it'll say those 2. And that's basically all we really need to know. And this says includes figure and accessory, just like the Boba Fett one would. So there you have Bossk, and I think he looks great. So let's add him to the backdrop, and let's get to the next box. Okay, and here's your next two-pack. Now, this particular box set includes Dengar and IG-88. You guys know the drill. Of course, we have the Star Wars Empire Strikes Back logo with a single racetrack piping around the outer edge of the box. This is in 5 different languages, 2 action figures, and then all the rest is in a foreign language. We have the Kenner logo. We have the Retro Collection logo, and we have this simulated damage around the outer edge of the box. And it shows the 2 action figures included, and of course that's IG-88 and Dengar. If we flip down, it says action figures from the Star Wars movie saga, and then it says that in 4 other languages. Bottom has nothing. This side has 3 different languages, and if we flip to this side, the other 2, and finally we have some English. It says, put them in their own action poses or use them with Star Wars toys sold separately. Let's get to the best part of this, and that's the back of the box. And we have this classic image, which they carry through in all 3 box sets of all 6 bounty hunters. And let's see what this has to say. Dengar is an effective bounty hunter, preferring firepower and destruction to finesse and style. IG-88 is a chrome war droid turned bounty hunter who answered the call to capture the Millennium Falcon. And then, of course, it says it in a few more different languages. Over here, we have the warning, small parts, and then that's in a bunch of languages. And over here, it says includes 2 figures and 3 accessories, and then the rest is in a foreign language as well. You know the drill. Let's just get to the box, though. Let's open this thing up, and let's pull the figures out. So, the first figure out of the gate is Dengar. And this figure looks great. I will say this, that this image has been enhanced. And if you're wondering how I know that, it's because I have an original Dengar. And this is not the same as that. This is the original actor portraying Dengar. And obviously, maybe they felt he didn't look Hollywood enough. Maybe he didn't look dangerous enough. So they recreated the image. And I think it looks great, but it's definitely going to ruffle some feathers with original Kenner fans. So let's talk about the figure. He comes on has the blue name pill, and he comes on the blue backer. Of course, we have the Empire Strikes Back logo, simulated damage around the outer edge of the card. Of course, we have the sticker, and then the Kenner logo. And Dengar looks great. He comes with the long rifle, which originally came packaged with the Snowtrooper. And that's how I used to reference all the weapons. Han Solo originally came with his DL-44 blaster, and anytime they gave that gun to another figure, I said, oh, he's got a Han Solo gun. The Stormtrooper got the E11 blaster. Anytime they gave that gun to another figure, like a Hammerhead or Boba Fett, I said, oh, he's got a Stormtrooper gun. So this gun to me was always the Snowtrooper gun, because that's when they first issued it. So let's add Dengar to the backdrop, and let's bring in the next figure on the docket, and that is IG-88. He's on the yellow backer. Of course, he's got the yellow name pill. Of course, we've got the Empire Strikes Back logo, the simulated damage, the Kenner logo, and the big gaudy sticker. And the cool thing about IG-88 is he comes with the E11 blaster, and he comes with a signature long rifle. And this figure, this rifle, is unique to this figure. A lot of times, people will try to pass off that Dengar gun, that Snowtrooper gun, to IG-88. There's a little nub over here on the Snowtrooper gun that is not present on the IG-88 gun. So if you're picking up an IG-88, make sure, if somebody tells you it's complete, make sure it has the unique gun. Just a little words of wisdom. Of course, if we flip to the back, like I said, when they change, they'll put IG-88 Dengar. The other one said Boba Fett Bossk. And the cool thing about this is it says includes figure and 2 accessories. So they did make the change, because this is the one figure that comes with 2 accessories as opposed to 1. So there you have it. Now let's get to our final box set coming up next. Okay, by process of elimination, our final 2-pack is the infamous Zuckuss and 4LOM Bounty Hunter 2-pack wave. And for those that might not know why they're infamous, it's because of Kenner's era back in the day. Obviously, there was limited resource materials, and Kenner just a lot of times shot from the hip. And in this case, they messed this up. Now, if you realize how droids are designated, most of the time they are designated with letters and numbers. So you would think 4LOM would be this guy who's the droid of the 2-pack. And sure enough, that is correct. And Zuckuss is this guy, just an alien bounty hunter. And that was just a mess up that went undetected for several years. Eventually, when Hasbro acquired Kenner, they started figuring some stuff out and they corrected this. Thankfully for this 2-pack, they continued the era through. So when we get into this, you will see that Zuckuss remains Zuckuss and 4LOM remains 4LOM, at least for this particular retro line. So we have the Empire Strikes Back logo with the single racetrack piping around the outer edge of the box. Of course, we have all this simulated damage, the Kenner logo, the retro collection emblem, and the 2 carded figures included in the box. Of course, this is in a bunch of languages, and it says 2 figures. Now let's flip this down. It says action figures from the Star Wars movie saga. And then it says that again in 4 different languages. If we flip to this side, it's in 3 languages. And finally, if we get to this side, 2 languages. And finally, the English translation says, put them in their own action poses or use them with Star Wars toys sold separately. Now, let's get to the back of the box. Of course, here's the classic image of the 6 of them on the bridge of the Star Destroyer as Vader briefs them. And what does this say? Cold, calculating droid 4LOM and Gan bounty hunter Zuckuss were summoned by Darth Vader to locate the Millennium Falcon and her crew in Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. And together, they make a deadly pair. And it's cool that even though that's screwed up, they did say cold calculating droid 4LOM. So even though there was a mistake made, they at least corrected it in the prose of this particular body of words describing the 2 bounty hunters. And of course, over here, warning small parts includes 2 figures and 2 accessories. And you know the drill. Let's, without further ado, get to the actual figures. And let's get rid of that. The first figure out of the gate, let's pull him off to the side, is Zuckuss. Now, Zuckuss was always one of my favorite figures. Very C-3PO-like, very protocol droid-like. And if you look at the image on the card back, you can see a lot of aspects of C-3PO in the lower body and torso, upper torso of this particular figure. The head, even though he's a droid, is very insect-like. He's got those bulbous eyes and these cool respirators, and just the figure looks really cool. And he comes with this signature rifle that was only unique to this particular character. He's got the green name pill and green backer. Of course, the classic image, the retro collection sticker, the Kenner logo, and of course, all the simulated damage around the outer edge of the card. If we flip to the back, of course, it says 4LOM and Zuckuss, and it says includes figure and accessory. So let's add him to the backdrop. Now, let's bring in 4LOM. And my good friend and subscriber, Vincent Spencieri, is going to get a kick out of this because he said every time I do a video, I have a little story to go along with that particular video or character I'm spotlighting. And today is no different. So let's actually just pop him into the back for right now. And let's bring in my original 4LOM figure. And if you're wondering where his card back is, well, I have a story to go along with that. Big surprise. Now, this is my original 4LOM figure from when I was a kid. And how I acquired him. Well, I walked into the Woolworth store at my local mall. And for those not familiar with Woolworth, either your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, depending on the age of the viewer watching this, that store to them was called the Five and Dime, 5 and 10 store. And it was known to me as Woolworth. I walked in, this figure had been ripped off the card back and was laying on the shelf. And there was a kid nearby. He was attempting to steal this figure. Well, I walked in and I didn't have this figure. And I said, this kid's done all the heavy lifting. He's done all the hard work. So I just waited patiently. I had no place to go. And the kid, you could see, he was all fidgety and kind of shuffling his feet. And he was waiting for me to leave. And you know what? I knew why he wanted me to leave, and I refused. Well, eventually his mother came, and she's like, come on, Johnny, we got to go. And off he went dejectedly. And I walked up after that, grabbed this figure, shoved it down my pants, and out the store I went. So that's how I attained my original 4LOM figure. So I apologize, but I never said I was a Boy Scout. So that's how 4LOM came into my collection. Now, let's get back to this. Now, he came with this signature, like kind of this pleather cape, and I always loved it. It's the only figure in the entire run that came with this style of cape, this pleather. And he came with that signature, like hacksaw type of gun. It always reminded me of a hacksaw, and you can't deny it. And then he had this cool armor detail that kind of held the cloak closed. He's got this he's kind of insect-like as well. And he's got kind of the bulbous eyes, this cool respirator detail around his mouth, and the figure looks great. He's got the 4LOM name pill, which is kind of like an orangey color. And the same thing with the backer, because he's got the sticker, Kenner logo, Empire Strikes Back logo, and all this simulated damage around the card. So let's add 4LOM to our backdrop. And I hope you enjoyed this. I apologize again for misrepresenting last week's video by saying that they needed to make more Empire figures when in fact they actually had. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will see you on the next one. Well, I hope you enjoyed the review and unboxing of the Bounty Hunter 2-packs as part of the Empire Strikes Back Retro Collection wave. I apologize for not mentioning them last week. I wasn't trying to be misleading, but I have a huge collection, and sometimes items slip through the cracks, and those aren't on display in the room prominently, so sometimes you forget about them. And after the fact, I started thinking about it. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm talking about creating another line or bringing out another line, and we do have the Bounty Hunters. So I kind of felt like I was being unfair and misleading to the fans, so I wanted to kind of correct that with the video this week. And I also misspoke about the whole never before seen characters, because they did come out with the Snowspeeder Luke figure. And I know before you say it, it's basically an X-Wing pilot Luke with a yellow visor, white gloves, and a new card back. The one cool thing that I failed to mention during the shooting of the video is that he comes with a blue lightsaber, like the yellow lightsaber that the Bespin Luke came with, but he comes with a blue lightsaber, and he comes with like a harpoon gun that he used to kind of take out the AT-AT after his Snowspeeder crashed during the Battle of Hoth. So that never before seen accessory, the harpoon gun, is actually pretty cool looking. So they did give us something. So having said that, we're going to start to wrap things up. Before we do so, though, I'd like to bring to everybody's attention the new shirt. I mentioned last week that I wanted to wear the new shirt that my grandsons gave me when we were in Chicago. I was going to wear it last week, but then obviously Ozzy passed, so I did the whole Black Sabbath shirt to pay homage to Ozzy. Well, after the recording of that video, we lost Hulk Hogan. I do not have any Hulk Hogan shirts or any wrestling shirts. Those days are long gone. I used to love wrestling growing up. In my late teens, me and my buddies did a lot of events at the Providence Civic Center. We would go and hang out before the show and see all the wrestlers arrive, in cars backstage. Say Brutus the Barber was fighting, Nikolai Volkov, they'd arrive in the same car together. You know, back then you didn't realize just how fixed the whole thing was and how staged it all was. So it was always cool to see the wrestlers arrive together in their cars. And obviously Hulk Hogan was huge for me growing up. And nobody will ever deny that Hogan put wrestling on the map. So before we wrap things up, I just wanted to say, what you gonna do when all things Star Wars considered runs wild on you? So that's my little Hulk Hogan reference for the video today. Before we move on, I just wanted to say I'd like to thank everybody for the continued support of my humble little All Things Star Wars Considered YouTube channel. I have been picking up subscribers left and right, and for that, I am thankful. So if you have subscribed, thank you, thank you, thank you. For those that haven't, though, I ask you, please hit the subscribe button so I can continue to bring you that valuable Star Wars content we've all come to know and love. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. You know that helps the channel as well. If you have a question, a comment, some input, maybe you want to weigh in on the retro collection, please leave it in the comment section, and I'll get back to each and every one of you. Want to remind everybody to have a great day. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you on the next video. And as always, may the Force be with you. And one final thing, take it away, Cregan.
There's an old man living cold and poor. Feels like there's nothing to give. There's a young boy crossing by his path, reflected how he lived.